All right, 4.3, which is simplifying, multiplying, and dividing rational expressions. So last section, 4.2, we learned how to take rational functions and turn them into reciprocal functions, and then we ended with simplifying them. And so we're just going to quickly go over again simplifying and factoring, because factoring is going to be super important for this section. So let's jump right in. Example 1, simplify each rational expression by reducing common factors. So the first thing is we need everything simplified or factored. So step 1, factor everything. So let's look at this and see. So the x minus 4 and x plus 1, those are already factored. So let's look at the other one, which is on the bottom, and that's not factored yet. So what multiplies to c and adds to b is what we did before. So I'm just going to rewrite the top, x plus 4, x plus 1. And then on the bottom, I'm going to rewrite it. And I'm just going to do it like this for now. I know that I'm going to have something that looks like the top, but the numbers and the signs inside might change. So that's what I'm going to look at. So again, I'm looking at what multiplies to 2. And so for that, I have 1 and 2. And I want a positive. So I either have a positive 1 and a positive 2, or a negative 1 and a negative 2. And then I want something that adds to 3. And that would be the 1 and 2, and they're both positive, so plus 1, plus 2. Now I'm going to look, everything's factored, so now my next step is to look for common factors. Common factors. And so for this instance, x plus 1 and x plus 1 are common. They're the same, one on the top, one on the bottom. So now I'm going to rewrite it. So I'm left with x plus 4 and x plus 2. So again, step 3 was I just rewrote it. And then the last step is to state your restrictions. And restrictions are when the denominator equals 0. So denominator can't equal 0. So we still need this one here because that's still an option, or not an option, excuse me. So x cannot equal negative 1, and x cannot equal negative 2. And then I'm just going to note down here that there would be a hole at x equals negative 1. And that's from our previous video or previous lesson. When they cross each other out, that means there's a hole there. Okay, let's look at another one. So we're going to follow the same steps, just factoring might look different in each one. So again, we're going to start by factoring everything. So on the top, I see that all of them have an x, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out an x first. So when I do that, I'm left with x squared minus 5x minus 24. And I see that the bottom ones all have an x, so let's go ahead and just pull out an x there. X squared plus x minus 72. And now I'm going to do the same method as I was doing before, so like multiples of negative 24. So that would be negative 1 and positive 24, or positive 1 and negative 24, and I would keep going. So we got 2 and 12, 2 and negative 12. Neither one of these are going to get to negative 5, so I'm going to keep going. We have negative 3 and 8. That's going to be a positive 5, so then we could do a negative 8 and a positive 3, and that would give me the 5. So I'm going to rewrite this one now. So I had x plus 3 and x minus 8. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the 72. And again, I want a negative. So I have -1, positive 72, positive 1, negative 72, -2, and 36. And I'm looking for a difference of 1 in this case. So these definitely would not work. 3 and 24, or 3 and -24. Again, looking for a difference of 1, so these are definitely still not going to work. So then we would do the next one, which would be -4 and 18. Definitely still not going to be a difference of 1. 5 wouldn't go in. 6 would not go in. Or 6 times 12 would go in, sorry. Still not a difference of 1 though, so we need to keep going. 7 would not go in. 8 and 9. -8 and 9. And I think we just found our winner. So now we know that those are a difference of 1, so we need to see which one is our negative though. We want a positive 1 when it outcomes, so we want the 9 to be bigger, or positive. So rewrite these, x minus 8 and x plus 9. So now let's go ahead and look for all those duplicates. We have this x and this x. So those are gonna be 1. And then we have x minus 8 and x minus 8. So I'm gonna go ahead and rewrite that. So we have x plus 3 left on the top and x plus 9 left on the bottom. And our restrictions in this case would be here, this one here, the x's, would make it so that x cannot equal 0. And then this one here would make it x cannot equal 8. And then this last one here would be x cannot equal -9. So go ahead and pause, watch that, and try the next one and then check your answer. All right, so there's that one. So I rewrote it so that it was -x squared plus 4, and then factoring that is very similar, or is the exact same as factoring -x squared plus 4, minus 4, which is the same as x squared plus 0x minus 4. So a +2 and a -2 would get that one, and that's how I got that. And then I just finished it. So now that we've simplified, we're going to take it a step farther and we're going to actually multiply as well. So the steps are going to be very similar. So the steps are going to be, step 1, you got it, factor anything that you can factor. So let's start by factoring this top one right here. I'm not going to put a 1 there because it might mix you up with the steps. So we're going to factor this one first right here. So what multiplies to -12 and adds to 4? So here are my brackets because I can see that it's going to look like this. And so then I have a +6 and a -2 would add to 4. The bottom of that one is already factored. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. So x squared minus 1 is the same as x squared plus 0x minus 1. So that is going to look like x minus 1 and x plus 1. And then this one, we have a -6. So it multiplies to -6 and adds to +5. So we could do a +6 and a -1. So 6 times -1 would get -6, but then if you add them, you would get a +5. So now everything is factored. So then the next step is going to be simplify or look for common factors. So look to see if there's an x minus 6 on the bottom, which there is right here. And then we have an x plus 1 right here and an x plus 1 right there, so these. And then we also have an x minus 1 and an x minus 1. And when we multiply, the next step is multiply, so step 3, multiply. And really the only thing we have left is this x minus 2, right? So it makes multiplying very simple, and our answer is just x minus 2. So go ahead and pause the video, look that over, and then try the next one and then check your answer. So pause, look it over, and try the next one. All right, so here it is. Probably the only thing you might have struggled with, or maybe even more, but the factor by grouping. So that's something we covered a while ago, but man, to remember that after so long, I don't know. So if you need factor by grouping is what this was, and there's a video on it from earlier. So factor by grouping is when you have to take the A value, multiply it to the C value, and then replace the B value in the middle with factors that add to that B but multiplied to A times C. So in this case, we needed something that multiplied 2 times negative 10, so we were looking at negative 10, and then looking for something that added to negative 3. So we had 2 and 5, 1 and 10, and then we needed something that added to negative 3, so we needed a negative 5 and a positive 2. And that's where these numbers came from right here. All right, awesome. So that's multiplying. Let's dive right into division. What's great about this is division is basically one additional step to what we were doing. So I'll rewrite the steps over here again, just so we can see them as we're going. So step 1, factor. So factor all this. So x minus 5 and x minus 3. So multiples of 15 adds to negative 8 is what I was looking at. And then negative 3 and positive 2 would give us a negative 6 and a negative 1 when we add. And we're dividing by 20. Multiples of 20 that add to negative 9 would be negative 5 and negative 4. And then the last one multiplies positive 8 and adds to negative 6. Well, that would be negative 4 and negative 2. All right, so now we factored. Woohoo! And now, before we start crossing out, we have one itty bitty step we got to do in between, and that is your keep, change, flip. So keep, change, flip, keep, change, flip. And that is just keep the first one the same. So keep that first one the same. And then change the sign from division to multiplication. So we changed, and then we're going to flip this fraction. So x minus 4 and x minus 2 is going to come on the top. And then x minus 5 and x minus 4 is going to go on the bottom. And then we're just going to do what we were doing before, where we're going to common factors, and then we're going to multiply. So common factors, x minus 5, x minus 5, x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 4, x minus 4, and then multiply. We're left with this and this. So our final answer is just x minus 2 and x plus 2. I kind of went over that fast, and I apologize. I'm running out of time on my recording. So feel free to pause and rewind or put it in slower motion. Again, I'm very sorry. I'm running out of room or time on my 15-minute limit. So that is it for 4.3 of multiplying, dividing, and simplifying. Awesome. Look forward to 4.4.